There is a moment in the 6th season of Adventure Time where the purple catalyst comet speaks to Finn, having offered him the chance to leave his physical body behind and exist as something larger, something cosmic, something that spans more than one mortal lifetime. And the comet says something very specific. It says that it has embodied all that is good and evil. And when it says good, the shot focuses on Finn. And when it says evil, the Lich appears. The comet says good and evil. The show gives you Finn and the Lich. This is not a fan theory. This is confirmed canonical information, documented in the Adventure Time wiki, visible on screen if you watch The Comet. Season 6 finale, aired June 5th, 2015. The show is telling you something about Finn in that moment, something about what he is, at the level of cosmic architecture, that changes how you read everything about him that came before it. Tonight's video is about that thing. The full picture of who Finn actually is, not who he appears to be, not the 12-year-old boy on his adventures, not the hero of Ooh, but who he is. When you assemble all the canonical lore, the show distributed across 10 seasons, and read it against each other. The theory is not dark in the sense of being bleak or nihilistic. It's dark in the sense of being bigger and stranger and more specific than most viewers register. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, and every episode becomes a different kind of story. So let's go through it, all of it. Every piece of confirmed canonical lore, in order, with the full weight of what it implies. Get comfortable. This is the one that changes everything. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It keeps us making these. It means more than I can say. Let's start before the universe. Adventure Time's cosmology, established most explicitly in the episode Gold Stars and in the Catalyst Comet's mythology across seasons 5 and 6, begins with a statement from the Lich himself. According to the Adventure Time wiki documenting the Gold Stars episode, before the universe existed there was nothing, and before there was nothing, there were monsters. The Lich, Golby, Orgalorg, these entities predate the universe. They are not products of existence. They are older than existence. They exist in a state that precedes even the void. The Catalyst Comets are the universe's mechanism for introducing change into the world. The Adventure Time wiki on the Catalyst Comets states, every 1,000 years, the Catalyst Comet mysteriously reincarnates itself, bringing with it an agent of change. The comet hits Earth. The agent of change enters the world. The world changes. 4 comets are documented or implied. The Green Comet is the Lich, the principle of extinction, of returning everything to nothing, of death as an active philosophical project. The Blue Comet is Finn, the principle of heroism, of protective action, of life choosing to defend itself. The Yellow Comet is implied to be Jake, based on the visual match. The Purple Comet is the agent of change that arrives in the show's present, offering Finn the chance to ascend. Here is the specific thing the show confirms about Finn's Blue Comet. It struck Earth sometime after the Mushroom War. The Adventure Time wiki on the Catalyst Comets notes, one of Finn's past lives was a blue incarnation of the comet, which struck Earth sometime after the Mushroom War. Being the incarnation of pure good, this comet led to the creation of the hero who would thwart the Lich's plans and battle various other threats, the incarnation of pure good. This is the show's explicit description of what the blue comet represented, what it was carrying when it hit Earth, and from that impact, through whatever reincarnation mechanism the show's cosmology operates by, eventually came Finn. Finn is the universe's heroism principle made flesh. He did not become a hero through choice, through upbringing, through the specific circumstances of his adoption by Joshua and Margaret. He is a hero because the universe decided, approximately 1,000 years after the worst event in human history, that a heroism principle needed to be in the world. The Blue Comet was the delivery mechanism. Finn is the current instantiation. This is the foundation of the theory, and it's confirmed canon. Now let's build on it. Finn's past lives, as established in The Vault, Season 5, Episode 34, aired September 16th, 2013. A comet, a butterfly, a pink interdimensional creature, and Shoko. The Adventure Time wiki on The Vault confirms all 4. Each of these is a distinct physical form that the same fundamental, soul, cosmic principle, agent of change, whatever it is, it inhabited across the span of time between the Blue Comet's impact and Finn's birth. Comet, cosmic entity, agent of change, the thing the universe fires at Earth every 1,000 years to introduce a new principle. Butterfly, small, fragile, short-lived, completely ordinary by any measure, except that it carries whatever the comet was carrying. The universe's heroism principle spent time being a butterfly. This is Adventure Time being specific about what it means to be an agent of change at every scale. It doesn't matter how small you are what you are, whether you're a comet, or a butterfly, or a 12-year-old boy in a white hat. The pink, interdimensional blob, a sentient entity from another dimension, shapeless, undefined, the heroism principle in a form that doesn't even have a name in the show's world. Some kind of shape, Finn says in The Vault. I don't know what that is. He can't identify his own past life because its form is too alien for him to process. Shoko. Here is where the theory becomes genuinely dark in the way the video's title promises. Shoko is Finn's most immediate past life. She is the person the blue comet's essence inhabited before Finn. She was a one-armed thief in the early centuries after the Mushroom War, the period when the Candy Kingdom was being founded, and Princess Bubblegum was building everything we know as Ooh. Shoko's parents sold her right arm for a computer when she was young, and then abandoned her at a dojo. She grew up in the Bath Boy gang, doing theft for money, surviving on the margins of whatever society was forming around her. The Adventure Time wiki on The Vault documents Shoko's story with precision. A one-armed common thief who steals items for clients in exchange for money. The Bath Boy gang assigns her to steal Princess Bubblegum's amulet. She approaches the Candy Kingdom, feigns injury to gain access, and PB, who is, even at this early stage of the kingdom's history, someone who responds to vulnerability with genuine care, takes her in, treats her wounds, gives her a prosthetic arm, and treats her with kindness. And Shoko steals the amulet anyway. She makes the choice. She has the amulet in her hands, and the access that PB's trust gave her, and she takes the amulet and runs. She runs from someone who was kind to her, from the only person in the episode who treated her with genuine care, and she runs with what she stole. The Gumball Guardians pursue. She falls into the radioactive river under what will become the Candy Castle, the same river that PB had to cover over when the kingdom was being built, the river contaminated by Mushroom War fallout that was still active centuries later. The radiation transforms her. She crawls out of the river, mutated, to the sapling of the tree that will eventually become Finn's treehouse, and she dies there. Her body fertilizes the tree. Her guilt, the unresolved weight of what she stole and what it cost, keeps her attached to the material world as a ghost. And 1,000 years later, she is the ghost that haunts Finn's nightmares, trying to give back what she took. Now here is the specific dark element that most analyses of Shoko's story miss, and this is the heart of the theory. Finn is the reincarnation of someone who failed. Specifically, Finn is the reincarnation of the heroism principle's most recent prior incarnation, a person who, in her most significant moral test, chose the wrong thing. She had the opportunity to be good. She had a person who showed her genuine kindness. She betrayed that kindness for money, for the gang, for whatever reasons felt sufficient in the moment. She made the wrong choice, and she paid for it in the most specific possible way. The choice that led to her death led to her body becoming the soil that grew the treehouse that sheltered the person she became next. The universe's heroism principle failed its moral test and died in the failure, and was reborn as the person who would pass it. Finn is not simply the heroism principle in a generic sense. He is the heroism principle in its corrective incarnation, the version that came after the version that failed, shaped by the failure without knowing it, sleeping above the evidence of it for his entire life. Let that sit for a moment. Finn sleeps above Shoko's skeleton. The Adventure Time wiki on The Vault confirms this explicitly. Shoko is left at the base of the tree, only to let the tree grow around her, as she soon ends up in the floorboards of Finn and Jake's treehouse. He has been sleeping above her skeleton for his entire remembered life. The guilt that kept her attached to the material world, the unresolved theft, the amulet never returned, is the ghost in his nightmares. He locked the memory of Shoko away in the vault of his mind, not because it was irrelevant, but because it was too heavy to carry consciously. He was carrying his own past life's guilt. He was having nightmares about what he used to be. The return of the amulet at the end of The Vault, when Finn gives PB back what Shoko stole 1,000 years ago, is the show's portrait of karma completing a cycle. The heroism principle, in its corrective incarnation, returning the thing that its previous incarnation stole. Finn didn't steal the amulet, Shoko did. Finn returns it. The same soul, 1,000 years later, doing what it should have done the first time. This is the darkest interpretation. Finn's heroism is not simply what he is. It is what he became because his previous self failed to be it. He was reborn to correct a mistake he doesn't remember making. He carries the weight of it in nightmares he can't explain. And when he returns the amulet, he completes something that was started before he was born. Now let me layer the next piece, because the Shoko story connects to the broader Martin story in a way that is rarely assembled into a single, coherent picture. Finn's parents, Martin Mertens and Minerva Campbell, born on Hub Island, one of the human settlements established by the survivors of the Mushroom War, who sailed away with Two Bread Tom. The island's miniseries, specifically Min and Marty, documents their story with precision. Martin was a con artist, a man who told people he could help them escape the island and then abandoned them at the last minute, taking their money. He is, in the most specific sense, a person who consistently makes the wrong choice for self-interested reasons. And Minerva is the opposite, a helper, a doctor, a person who devotes herself to the care of others. She is the show's portrait of what the heroism principle looks like in a human life fully expressed, not through adventure and combat, but through medicine and care, and the specific daily choice to show up for the people who need help. Their son, produced by the union of the pure con man and the pure healer, is Finn, the heroism principle given parents that are its two poles, the self-interested operator and the selfless caretaker. He is the synthesis. He gets the care and the selflessness from Minerva and this is the part that gets under-examined, something specific from Martin that is harder to name. The Martin Wiki entry notes. In the promo art made by Sam Alden, the extent of Martin's injury sustained by the Guardian is shown. It's most likely that the head injury caused permanent brain damage and is largely responsible for his personality and memory issues. Martin was capable of genuine love before the head injury. The Min and Marty episode shows him as someone who changed his ways for Minerva, who took care of baby Finn with genuine affection. The person who abandoned Finn, callous, manipulative, unable to remember his son's name, is partly the product of a head injury sustained while fighting a robotic guardian to protect a baby. The TV Tropes recap of Min and Marty states, Martin didn't intentionally abandon Finn. He took Finn with him while running from people out for blood, planned to escape by circling around the island in a boat, and was separated after they ran into the Colossus, with Martin still trying to stay with Finn despite fighting the Colossus, and only finally relenting when his only option became fleeing. Martin fought the Guardian to keep Finn. He was willing to fight a massive robot Guardian to protect his infant son. He was separated from Finn by a wave, not by a choice. He spent the rest of his life without the memory of what he had been, the loving father who fought a Guardian for his child, because the injury that separated him from Finn also damaged his capacity to be the person who did that. This does not excuse Martin's later behavior. He is consistently selfish and manipulative throughout the show, but it contextualizes it in a way that is genuinely dark. Finn was separated from his biological father, not because Martin chose to leave him, but because Martin's attempt to protect him was the thing that ultimately separated them. The good choice was the cause of the abandonment, and here is where the theory assembles its full weight. Consider the pattern. Shoko, Finn's previous incarnation, was betrayed by her parents, sold for a computer, abandoned. She tried to steal from someone who was kind to her. She died because of what she tried to take. Finn's current life, separated from his biological parents by an accident that resulted from his father's attempt to protect him, found and raised by adoptive parents who are dogs, grows up not knowing his origin, spends his adolescence discovering, piece by piece, that the world his heroism is trying to protect has a much more complicated history than he knew. Both Shoko and Finn were abandoned by their parents. The Adventure Time wiki on The Vault catches this. Both Shoko and Finn were abandoned by their parents when they were little. The soul that is the heroism principle has been abandoned by its parents in 2 consecutive incarnations. This is either a coincidence of the circumstances available in a post-apocalyptic world or a pattern. The show doesn't tell you which, but it puts the parallel in the episode and trusts you to see it. Now let's talk about what the comet is, because the full picture of Finn's cosmic identity requires understanding exactly what a catalyst comet represents in the show's framework. The Catalyst Comet's wiki entry explains, every 1,000 years, the Catalyst Comet mysteriously reincarnates itself, bringing with it an agent of change. The key word is agent, not a force, not a principle, an agent, an entity with agency, something that can choose what to do with what it is carrying. The purple comet, in The Comet, tells Finn that it has embodied all that is good and evil, not good or evil, good and evil. The comet is the vehicle for both, in different incarnations. The green comet was evil, the Lich, extinction, death as an active project. The blue comet was good, heroism, protection, life defending itself. The same fundamental cosmic mechanism produced both. This is the show's most specific statement about Finn's nature. He is not simply the good counterpart to the Lich's evil. He is a specific incarnation of the same cosmic mechanism that also produced the Lich. They are not opposites from different systems. They are two different outputs of the same process. The comet that brought the Lich also, in a different pass, brought Finn. The universe uses the same delivery mechanism for both. The purple comet's description, "I have embodied all that is good and evil," maps directly onto Finn and the Lich on screen. The shot is deliberate and precise. Finn is good. The Lich is evil. These are the two faces of what the comets produce. Finn exists in the specific cosmological relationship to the Lich of being the heroism principle's current instantiation, as the Lich is the extinction principle's current instantiation, and both are products of the same ancient mechanism. What does this mean for how you read their conflict? Every fight between Finn and the Lich is not simply a good guy fighting a bad guy. It is the universe's heroism principle fighting the universe's extinction principle, using two physical bodies as their hosts. In the land of U, approximately 1,000 years after the bomb that activated the Lich also triggered the blue comet's arrival. The timing. The Catalyst Comets wiki is explicit. One of Finn's past lives was a blue incarnation of the comet, which struck Earth sometime after the Mushroom War. The bomb fell, the Lich was released, and a blue comet hit Earth. The universe, having just had its extinction principle dramatically activated, introduced the heroism principle approximately simultaneously, as if the cosmic system has a counter mechanism. Wherever death is released on a massive scale, life and heroism follow. This means Finn was cosmically summoned in response to the Lich. Not Finn specifically. Finn is the current instantiation after multiple intermediate forms. But the blue comet, the origin of Finn's chain of lives, arrived in response to, or alongside the event that released the Lich. They are, in the most precise sense, cosmic counterparts that were activated in the same period. Now let's talk about the arm, because Finn's arm, the foreshadowed loss, the eventual severance, and the specific circumstances of how it happened, is one of the show's most sustained pieces of symbolic storytelling, and it connects directly to the larger theory about what Finn is. The Adventure Time wiki on Finn notes, in all of Finn's alternate variants, he eventually gets his right arm removed. All variants, every version of Finn that the show shows across alternate timelines and flash-forwards loses the right arm. The farm world Finn, who wears the ice crown. The future Finn in Dungeon Train, seen through a crystal ball. Finn himself in Escape from the Citadel. The old Finn in Puhoi. Even Shoko, his previous incarnation, is missing her right arm, sold by her parents when she was young. The one-arm pattern crosses reincarnations. Shoko lost her arm to her parents' transaction. Finn loses his arm to his father's abandonment. Both are the same soul, losing the right arm in different ways in different lifetimes. The loss is not random. It is patterned. It follows the heroism principle across its incarnations. Why the right arm specifically? The show doesn't explain this directly, but consider, the right arm is conventionally the arm of action, the arm that strikes, the arm that reaches. It is the arm of the heroism principle's active expression, the swing of the sword, the reach toward the person in trouble, the hand extended to pull someone up. The heroism principle keeps losing the thing it uses to act. This is either a cosmic tragedy or a cosmic lesson, or both. In Escape from the Citadel, Finn loses his arm specifically while trying to hold on to his father. He is reaching with his right arm, using every bit of strength he has, trying to prevent Martin from leaving. The grass sword, which is itself an external manifestation of something in Finn's nature, a physical expression of his heroism principle made manifest, takes over the arm and extends the grip as far as it can, and then Martin leaves anyway, and the arm goes with him. The heroism principle reaches for the father who is leaving. The reaching destroys the reaching instrument. This is the show's darkest statement about what it costs to be what Finn is, the most complete expression of his nature, refusing to give up, holding on against physical impossibility, produces the injury that most obviously marks him. The heroism principle is maimed by its own most heroic act, the flower that grows from the stump, a single flower, from the Citadel Guardian's healing blood coating the wound. The Adventure Time wiki on Finn. Martin brings Finn onto a raft, only to be attacked by the Guardian, and later, in Escape from the Citadel, Finn's right arm is torn off and coated by the blood of a Citadel Guardian, which grows a small flower. The Cosmic Prison's Guardians, entities designed to contain cosmic criminals, shed blood that produces growth. The wound becomes a garden. Something small and alive grows from the place where the loss happened. This is the theory's central image, the heroism principle, repeatedly wounded by the circumstances of its existence, continuing to grow something from the wound, not despite the loss, from it. The flower is what the arm's absence produces, specifically because the Guardian's blood is there, specifically because the arm was lost trying to reach Martin. The chain of specific causation leads to a flower where an arm was. Finn's depression arc in Breezy, the episode after Escape from the Citadel, where he is numb and going through the motions of being a person, is the heroism principle without its full capacity to express itself. It has lost the arm it acts with. It has lost the father it was reaching toward. It goes on dates with princesses it doesn't feel anything for, because the feeling requires access to something that has been temporarily removed. The flower grows from the stump. The arm comes back when Finn can access genuine warmth again. Now let me add the piece about what the show ultimately says about what Finn chooses. The Comet, Season 6 finale. The Purple Comet offers Finn the chance to ascend, to stop being a physical person and become something else, something larger, something that spans the universe and time. Finn declines. He stays in Oo. He stays with Jake and PB and Marceline and BMO and all of it. The show gives the Comet's offer to Martin instead. Martin accepts it and dissolves into cosmic energy. Finn watches his father become something transcendent while choosing to remain ordinary. This is Adventure Time's deepest statement about what heroism is in the specific cosmological framework the show has constructed. The heroism principle, when offered the chance to become something cosmic and transcendent, declines. It chooses the specific, the particular, the people it knows, and the world it has been given to protect. The heroism principle is not heroic because it reaches for something larger. It is heroic because it stays. Martin, the con man, the man who abandoned Finn in the most literal possible sense, is the one who ascends. Finn, the heroism principle, is the one who stays. The father leaves for something bigger. The son stays for something smaller and more real. The pattern that started when Finn was an infant on a raft is completed at the Season 6 finale. Martin goes, Finn stays, and this time the staying is a choice. The Lich's parallel choice. The Lich does not have the opportunity to stay in a warm, specific life. The Lich's nature is the opposite of Finn's. Extinction cannot choose to protect. Death cannot choose to stay. But the parallelism is there in the show's visual language. When the comet says good and evil, you see Finn and the Lich. Finn chooses to stay and continue being the heroism principle in its specific, embodied, 12-year-old, and eventually adult form. The Lich continues being the extinction principle in whatever form the Lich occupies in each moment. The reincarnation cycle continues. Finn ages, Jake dies before Finn. Finn dies of old age. They find each other in the dead worlds. Life, the entity revealed in Together Again, to be in charge of reincarnation, creates new bodies out of clay for souls in her underwater garden. Finn and Jake choose to be reborn together. The heroism principle and its companion, reincarnating again into whatever comes next. Shermie and Beth, the distant future of Oo. They are Adventure Time's implicit answer to the question of what happens after Finn and Jake. The heroism principle, the agent of change, the blue comet's long reincarnation chain. It continues. Shermie and Beth are going on their own adventure. They take the Finn sword, grown back from Fern's tree, and they seek out the king of Oo. The adventure continues in new forms. The heroism principle finds new bodies. This is the theory in its full form. Finn is not simply a boy who chose to be a hero. He is the universe's heroism principle, currently instantiated in a specific human body, in a specific world, in a specific period of its history. His past lives, Comet, Butterfly, Pink Blob, Shoko, are the chain of forms the principal occupied before reaching him. His next lives, Shermie and Beth, and whatever comes after, are the forms it will occupy after him. He is one moment in an ongoing process that the show traces from the Cretaceous period to the far future of Ooo, and the specific darkness of this reading. Finn doesn't know most of it. He discovers the Shoko connection. He discovers the Catalyst Comet connection. But the full picture, that he is the heroism principle's current instantiation, that his conflicts with the Lich are cosmic counterparts of the same mechanism facing each other, that his reincarnation is ongoing and will continue long after he dies. This is the architecture of his existence that the show builds across 10 seasons and multiple specials. He lives inside a cosmic structure that is larger than any individual version of him can fully access. The white hat. Finn wears a white bear hat for the entire run of the show. The hat comes from a bear, specifically, in the pilot, from a bear that Finn defeated. He wears the bear's face as a hat. This detail is from the original short, carried into the main series. But in the context of the full lore, consider what the white hat means. Finn has always worn the color of the blue comet's incarnation. White is the absence of color, the full spectrum, the beginning. He wears the primordial state on his head. Every day, from the first episode to the last, the missing teeth. The Adventure Time wiki on Finn notes. He has several missing teeth, which Ward explained as being due to the character never having been to a dentist. Never been to a dentist. This is a production note with a simple explanation, but the accumulated effect, the character with the missing teeth, the bear hat, the white clothes, the specific kind of cheerful damage that comes from being the heroism principle living in a dangerous world, is of a person who has been fighting for a long time and wears the evidence of it. Even before the arm loss, even before Martin, he was already marked. The specific quality of what makes the theory dark is not that it's bleak. Finn's nature as the heroism principle is not a tragedy. The tragedy is in the specific cost of being it. The parents lost in both his current and previous incarnations, the arm lost in the reaching, the depression after the loss, the relationships that don't quite work, because the heroism principle is 12, and figuring out how to be a person, while also being cosmically significant, without knowing that it is. The boy doesn't know what he is, he just does what feels right, and what feels right is what the heroism principle does, and the rightness of it, the specific, unself-conscious heroism of a kid who throws himself at the world with complete openness, is what makes it work. The comet chose well. The heroism principle in this incarnation is the one that gets to the finale and kisses PB on the cheek in a moment of unexpected warmth in the middle of the Ice King's chaos. The one that stays for Jake, the one that stays for Ooo, the one that declines the comet's offer to ascend and chooses instead to remain exactly where it is. The darkness is that this is all bigger than Finn knows. He is a 12-year-old boy in a white hat going on adventures with his dog. He is also the universe's heroism principle in its current iteration, shaped by the failures of its previous iteration, in conflict with the extinction principle that is its cosmic counterpart, in a world built from the aftermath of the worst event in human history. Both are true, both are him, simultaneously. The candy colors are real. The cosmic architecture is also real. Both are the show, both are Finn. Thank you for spending this time tonight. The theory is all confirmed canon. The comets, Shoko, Martin's head injury, the arm pattern across incarnations, the reincarnation cycle, the comet's good and evil statement with Finn and the Lich on screen. The show built this across 10 seasons. It trusted you to assemble it. Tonight we assembled it together. Subscribe if you haven't. Come back. Good night. Expansion A. The full weight of the Shoko story and what it actually implies. Let me trace the Shoko story in complete depth, because I moved through it quickly in the main script, and it deserves much more time. This is the piece of the theory that most directly reframes how you read Finn's entire arc. Shoko, post-Mushroom War, approximately several hundred years before the present of the main series. The world is still new. The Candy Kingdom is in its founding period. PB is building the kingdom around Neddy. The Gumball Guard is being created to enforce law. This is the early centuries of Ooo, when everything that will eventually become the world of Adventure Time is still taking shape. Shoko's parents sold her right arm for a computer. The Adventure Time wiki on The Vault is explicit about this. Her parents sold her right arm for a computer before abandoning her at a dojo. Two facts assembled. Her parents traded a piece of her body for technology and then left her at a place of martial training. She did not choose this. The dojo was presumably her only option for learning to survive in a world that had already taken her arm and her family, the Bathboy Gang. She works for them, doing theft for money, because theft is the skill the world gave her access to. She is not evil in any conventional sense. She is a person who survived her circumstances through the mechanisms her circumstances made available. She steals because she was raised by people who sold her body parts and abandoned her, and the only training she received was in a place that taught her to fight, and the only economy available to her is one that rewards those who can take things from others. The Adventure Time wiki on The Vault. Shoko was a close friend of Bubblegum like Finn is. This is the parallel the show draws explicitly. Shoko was to PB what Finn would be, someone outside the Candy Kingdom's structure, who was brought inside by PB's genuine care and who formed a real relationship with her. The pattern of PB's connection to the heroism principle's current instantiation goes back through reincarnations. The moral test. PB treats Shoko with genuine kindness. She gives Shoko a prosthetic arm, replacing the one her parents sold. Think about what this means. PB gives back the arm that was taken. She doesn't know what she's doing cosmically. She is just responding to vulnerability with care, as she does. But she is giving the heroism principle back, the thing its parents removed. She is completing a restoration that Shoko's own family couldn't provide, and Shoko steals the amulet anyway. After the arm is given, after the kindness is established, after PB has shown her what genuine care looks like, Shoko takes the amulet and runs. This is the specific betrayal, not the betrayal of taking from a stranger, the betrayal of taking from someone who just gave you something. The TV tropes recap of The Vault. Friend or idol decision. Shoko picks idol and immediately gets mutated and killed. Friend or idol. She chooses the object over the relationship. She chooses the thing over the person who showed her what a person could be. And the show's judgment of this choice is immediate and physical. The Gumball Guardians blast her. She falls into the radioactive river. The radiation mutates her into something unrecognizable. She crawls to the sapling and dies. The wrong choice produces immediate, total consequence. This is not typical of Adventure Time's moral framework. The show usually gives its characters the space to grow from bad choices, rather than dying immediately from them. But Shoko's death is immediate and specific, because the wrong choice in that context was too consequential to survive. Why was it too consequential? Because the amulet is PB's, and PB is the Candy Kingdom, and the Candy Kingdom is everything the world of Ooh is being built toward. Stealing the amulet from PB at the moment of the kingdom's founding is not just theft from a person, it is theft from the architecture of everything that will eventually protect the life that the heroism principle is supposed to defend. Shoko betrayed her own purpose. The heroism principle, in Shoko's incarnation, actively worked against the thing it is supposed to protect, the guilt. Shoko doesn't pass on. She stays attached to the material world as a ghost. The TV tropes recap. Shoko's remains eventually grow into Finn and Jake's future treehouse. Her body becomes the treehouse. The guilt that keeps her attached grows the home where the heroism principle's next incarnation will live. She is literally the foundation. The wrong choice became the ground that the right choices would be made from. Finn's nightmares. Throughout the show's early seasons, before The Vault, Finn has recurring nightmares about a green-eyed ghost. He has locked these memories into The Vault, a mental compartment the show establishes as where Finn stores things too heavy to carry consciously. The ghost is Shoko. He is having nightmares about his own past life. He is carrying the weight of the wrong choice across the reincarnation gap. In nightmares he can't explain, until the show finally gives him the episode to face it directly. The Vault is the episode where Finn confronts what he used to be. He goes under hypnosis with BMO's regression simulator. He sees the past lives. He sees Shoko. He watches the wrong choice happen. He watches his previous self die because of it. And then he tears up the floorboards of the kitchen of the treehouse that grew from Shoko's body, and he finds the skeleton, his own previous skeleton, and the amulet, which Shoko was still holding in death. He returns the amulet to PB. He completes, 1,000 years later, the act that Shoko couldn't bring herself to do. He gives back what was taken. This is the theory's most specific content. Finn's deepest moral act in the show, returning the amulet, is the completion of his previous self's greatest failure. He didn't know this when he did it. He just knew that the amulet belonged to PB and that it should be returned. The heroism principle's current incarnation does the right thing because it's right, not because it knows the cosmic significance. It corrects the previous incarnation's wrong choice, because correction is what the heroism principle does. And then he goes back to sleep in the treehouse that grew from Shoko's guilt, above the floorboards where her skeleton is. Having completed the loop, both the guilt and its resolution are embedded in the same building. He lives in both simultaneously. Expansion. B. The arm pattern and what it means across incarnations. Let me go through every documented instance of Finn losing the right arm, because the pattern is more complete than most analyses acknowledge. Shoko, missing right arm from birth/childhood. Her parents sold it. She was born into the arm's absence. The heroism principle's previous incarnation never had the right arm in the first place. PB gives her a prosthetic, temporarily restoring it, and then she loses it again when she dies in the radioactive river. Finn, in Puhoi, Season 5, Episode 18, Finn falls into a pillow world and lives an entire life there as an old man. He has an adult life, marries, has children, grows old, dies. The vision of him as an old man in this alternate life shows him with one arm. The Adventure Time. Wiki notes, Jonathan Frakes voices 2 alternate adult versions of Finn in the Season 5 episodes Puhoi and Dungeon Train. Finn in Dungeon Train, Season 5, Episode 36. Finn and Jake are on an infinite dungeon train. Through a magic item, Finn sees himself as an old man, one arm. Farm World Finn, in Finn the Human / Jake the Dog, the alternate timeline version of Finn, who is a farm boy in a world where the mushroom bomb was stopped. He has a mechanical prosthetic arm from birth, and uses it in combat when he becomes Ice Finn. The heroism principle's alternate universe counterpart is also missing the arm, even in a world where the specific circumstances that cost the main timeline Finn his arm, Martin, the Citadel, the Grass Sword, never occurred. Escape from the Citadel, Season 6, Episode 2, the main timeline arm loss, already discussed in depth. The Grass Sword takes over, Martin leaves, the arm goes with him, the flower grows from the stump. Reboot, Season 8, Episode 12, Finn's Grass Sword detaches from his arm and fuses with the Finn sword, forming Fern. The fusion costs Finn the arm again. His flesh arm was partly composed of grass from the regrown arm, and when the grass leaves to form Fern, the arm goes with it. He has a light grey mechanical arm from this point. Come Along With Me, series finale. Finn's mechanical arm is bitten off when he enters Golb's mouth. The apocalyptic battle with the Chaos entity costs him the mechanical arm, the replacement. The pattern. In every incarnation, in every alternate timeline, in every vision of the future, the right arm is lost. This is not realistic storytelling. One character losing the same arm across multiple timelines and visions is a deliberate thematic choice. The show is saying something about what it means to be the heroism principle. This specific loss is built into it. The right arm, the arm of action, the arm of reaching, is always the cost. The deepest interpretation, the heroism principle loses the capacity to reach, over and over, in every form it takes, and over it finds a way to continue. The flower, the grass arm, the mechanical arm, the continued existence, because the heroism principle without the right arm is still the heroism principle. The reaching is not the core of what it is. The choosing to reach, even knowing the arm might be the cost, is the birthmark. The Catalyst Comet's wiki notes, Finn states in Crossover that he has a birthmark shaped like a flaming sideways teardrop. This is a reference to his past life as a comet. He was born with the mark of what he used to be. On his body, from birth, is the evidence of the cosmic entity he was in his previous to Shoko incarnation. He carries the comet's shape on his skin, underneath his clothes, through his entire childhood. The show doesn't draw attention to this birthmark until Crossover, but it was there all along, the arm and the birthmark together. Finn is physically marked by 2 aspects of his cosmic identity. The birthmark marks him as a former comet. The repeated loss of the arm marks him as the heroism principle, which always loses the right arm. He carries both in his body, one visible and one not, through everything. Expansion. C. What Martin's arc adds to the theory. Martin Mertens deserves a more careful reading than he usually gets, because his arc adds specific elements to the theory about Finn that most analyses miss. Martin is a con man. He has always been a con man, even on Hub Island. Even before the head injury, he was running cons on people who wanted to escape the island, taking their money and abandoning them. The TV Tropes recap of Min and Marty notes, it's left to the audience's imagination if Martin, who's shown to be an emotionally manipulative con man, genuinely fell in love with Minerva. The ambiguity is real. Did Martin change for Minerva genuinely, or was the change itself part of a longer con? The show leaves this open. The promo art, showing his head injury, suggests the post-separation Martin is partly the product of brain damage rather than character. But the pre-injury Martin's genuine change is visible in the episode. He gets a barber's diploma. He takes care of baby Finn with real affection. The show presents both: a con man who may have genuinely loved his family, damaged by a brain injury, who reverted to his worst self in the absence of the people who called his best self out. Finn is the son of this man. The Wikipedia article on Finn quotes Adam Muto. They did not want Finn to be a carbon copy of Martin, since he had an adoptive father in Joshua. The specific worry that Finn might be a copy of Martin is the show's acknowledgement that the biological inheritance is a real concern. Martin's nature is in Finn's genes. Whatever made Martin a con man, whatever made him willing to manipulate and abandon, that's in the DNA of the heroism principle's current incarnation. And the show's answer: the adoptive parent matters. Joshua, the magical detective dog who found a crying infant in the woods, raised the heroism principle in ways that drew out what Minerva contributed rather than what Martin contributed. Finn's goodness is not cosmic inevitability. It is the product of his upbringing, of Joshua and Margaret choosing to take him in, of Jake being there, of growing up in a household where doing good was the expectation. The theory's darkest implication here, the heroism principle, in its current incarnation, is one upbringing away from being something else. If Joshua and Margaret hadn't found him, if he had grown up in a different household, with a different model, the Blue Comet brought the heroism principle into the world. But the heroism principle doesn't automatically express itself heroically. It needs the right conditions to develop. Finn needed Joshua. He needed Margaret. He needed Jake. He got them. The theory holds. Finn is the heroism principle, in a form that was shaped by the specific circumstances of his adoption, which were themselves the product of specific cosmic accident. The Guardian separating him from Martin, the raft carrying him to Oo, Joshua finding him crying in the woods. The heroism principle was delivered by a comet, shaped by a con man and a healer who couldn't stay together, adopted by magical dogs, raised in the ruins of a post-apocalyptic world, and became the person who turned down ascension to stay with his friends. This is what the theory looks like in full. Not simple, not clean, not a destiny that unfolds without friction. The heroism principle is contingent. It needed the right parents to become what it was, and it got them, by accident, by luck, by the specific chain of events that started with Martin running from his enemies with an infant, and ended with Joshua and Margaret finding a crying baby in the woods. Expansion. D. The Lich as Finn's mirror. The theory gets its full shape when you look at the Lich, not as Finn's enemy, but as his cosmic counterpart, because the relationship between them is more specific than most analyses allow. The Catalyst Comets. Wiki. The Green Comet is the Lich's first incarnation. The Blue Comet is Finn's. Both are catalyst comets. Both bring agents of change. Both have hit Earth. Both are currently instantiated in physical forms in the land of Oo. The Lich's physical form, in the main series, is a body animated by the extinction principle, a being made from nuclear fallout and the ancient green comet's essence, existing to annihilate all life. The Lich's Gold Star's speech, "I am the last scholar of Golb," places him in relationship to the fundamental chaos entity, the one that predates the universe. He is the extinction principle aligned with the fundamental dissolution of everything. Finn's nature, as the heroism principle, as the Blue Comet's incarnation, places him in direct opposition to this, not as a random antagonist relationship, but as a cosmological one. The universe produced both of them. The universe produced the extinction principle and the heroism principle as its two agents of change in the current cosmic cycle. They are the two faces of what the universe is doing right now. And here is the specific parallel the show draws. In Escape from the Citadel, the Lich is transformed by Finn's action, not destroyed, but transformed. The Lich's body, exposed to the Citadel Guardian's healing blood, grows flesh over itself and becomes sweet pea. The extinction principle is given a body built for living rather than dying. The heroism principle's action transforms the extinction principle's physical form into something that can be loved by tree trunks and Mr. Pig. The heroism principle does not destroy the extinction principle. It changes the form the extinction principle inhabits, and then, in whispers, The lich inside Sweet Pea, the extinction principle trying to reassert itself through the body it was given, is rejected by Sweet Pea himself. Sweet Pea says no, he refuses. He chooses to stay Sweet Pea, to be the gentle giant who is loved, rather than becoming the lich again. This is the theory's most hopeful element. The heroism principle does not need to destroy the extinction principle. It needs to give the extinction principle a body that makes the wrong choice harder. The cosmic counterparts don't annihilate each other. The heroism principle creates conditions in which the extinction principle chooses not to express itself. Sweet Pea becomes a mountain in the distant future. The extinction principle, given a body that chose love over destruction, becomes terrain, becomes landscape, becomes the ground that future Shermies and Beths adventure on. The heroism principle stays in Oo. The extinction principle becomes a mountain. This is how the cosmic conflict resolves, not in destruction, but in transformation, not in victory, but in continuation. Expansion. E. The reincarnation cycle. And what comes after Finn. Together again, Distant Lands, May 27th, 2021. Finn dies of old age. Jake died before him. They find each other in the dead worlds and navigate the afterlife bureaucracy together. Life, the entity in charge of reincarnation, creates new bodies from clay for souls who are ready to be reborn. Finn and Jake choose to reincarnate together. The heroism principle and its companion, making one last choice together, to come back, to do it again, in whatever form comes next. The Adventure Time Wiki on reincarnation. Jesse Moynihan confirmed that Jake is a reincarnation of Shoko's tiger, and this was canonically reaffirmed in Together Again. Jake is a reincarnation of Shoko's tiger. Finn is a reincarnation of Shoko herself. They were together in the previous life, Shoko and her tiger, and they are together in this one, Finn and Jake. The cosmic companions travel through reincarnations together. This means the heroism principle and its companion have been together across at least 2 incarnations, Shoko and her tiger, Finn and Jake. The companion principle, whatever Jake represents cosmically, the Catalyst Comets Wiki, suggesting the yellow comet as Jake's first incarnation, travels with the heroism principle. They are always together. The specific dynamic between them, the heroism principle's earnestness, balanced by the companion's pragmatism, Finn's nobility, balanced by Jake's flexibility, is the show's portrait of what the heroism principle needs to function. It needs the companion. It always has. Shermie and Beth, the distant future of Oo, are the next version. The Adventure Time Wiki timeline places them thousands of years after the main series. They are going on their own adventures. They take the Finn sword, regrown from Fern's seedling, from the enormous tree at the end of the finale. They seek out the King of Oo to learn about the past. The Finn sword is made from Finn's paradox, an artifact of 2 Finns existing simultaneously, and from Fern, the grass entity, who was both Finn and not Finn. That Shermie and Beth take the Finn sword is the show's statement that they carry forward what Finn was. They are the heroism principle's next form, armed with the artifact of its previous form's paradox. The cycle continues. Comet, butterfly, pink blob, Shoko, Finn, Shermie, Beth. Whatever comes after, the heroism principle keeps reincarnating. The companion keeps reincarnating with it. The extinction principle is a mountain now, but the next comet cycle will produce the next agent of change, and the heroism principle will be there to meet it. This is what the theory ultimately means. Adventure Time is not a story about a boy and his dog. It is a story about the universe's heroism principle, currently instantiated as a boy and his dog, in a specific period of the world's history, doing what the heroism principle has always done, and always will do. The boy and his dog are real and specific and beloved, and that is what makes the cosmic architecture meaningful, not despite the specificity, but because of it. The heroism principle is a 12-year-old boy who loves Jake and BMO and PB and Marceline, and who lost his arm, reaching for a father who was leaving. Both things, simultaneously, all of it, all the time. This is the darkest theory about Finn, and also the most hopeful one. Good night. Expansion. The full lore of the Catalyst, comets, and why timing matters. The Catalyst comets are the most important piece of cosmological infrastructure in Adventure Time's mythology for understanding Finn, and they deserve the extended treatment they rarely receive in analyses of his character. The Adventure Time Wiki on Catalyst Comets establishes the fundamental framework. They appear approximately every 1,000 years. They carry agents of change. The agents of change reincarnate into physical forms. The timing is the key detail. The green comet, the Lich's first form, hit Earth in the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. The comet that wiped out the dinosaurs. The show's episode, Evergreen, establishes this. The green comet ached for extinction. It was the Lich in cosmic form. It carried the principle that everything should return to nothing. It hit Earth, killed the dinosaurs, embedded its essence in the planet's geology, and then waited. 65 million years of geological processes, volcanic activity, tectonic shifts, the evolution of mammals into humans, the development of civilization, the Mushroom War. All of this happened while the Lich's essence was embedded in the Earth. The mushroom bomb activated that essence. The show implies that the mushroom bomb incorporated or released the geological residue of the green comet's impact from 65 million years earlier. The bomb brought the Lich into the world as a physical being. 65 million years of dormancy ended in a nuclear detonation, and then the blue comet hit. After the Mushroom War, after the Lich emerged, after the world was reshaped into Ooh, a blue comet arrived, carrying the heroism principle, and hit Earth. The sequence matters. Extinction arrives first, then heroism. The universe does not introduce the heroism principle preemptively. It introduces it in response to, or simultaneously with, the activation of the extinction principle. The Lich wakes up, the blue comet hits, the heroism principle enters the world. This is the cosmological argument the show is making. Heroism is not primary, it is reactive. The heroism principle arrives when the extinction principle threatens. The universe introduces the agent of change that is needed for the current situation. When the situation was mass extinction, the universe introduced extinction, the green comet. When the situation was what? What was the situation that called for the heroism principle? The show's answer. The situation was the existence of the Lich. The blue comet arrived because the green comet's consequences, the Lich, the annihilation drive, needed a counterforce. The universe introduced heroism because extinction needed to be opposed. Finn exists because the Lich exists. His cosmic existence is a response to the Lich's cosmic existence. And here is the dark implication. Finn's purpose, at the cosmic level, is defined by the Lich. The heroism principle was introduced to oppose the extinction principle. Without the extinction principle, the heroism principle would not have been introduced in that form. Finn's reason for existing in the universe's accounting is the Lich. This is not how Finn experiences his own life. He experiences it as going on adventures with Jake, protecting people who need protection, doing what feels right. He is not consciously aware of his cosmic counterpart relationship with the Lich. He is aware of the Lich as an enemy, but not as the entity whose existence is the reason for his own. The TV tropes analysis of the comet catches the visual confirmation. When the comet says good and evil, the shot is on Finn. When it says good, and on the Lich, when it says evil. The show put both of them on screen, explicitly connected to the same cosmic mechanism's two outputs. It confirmed what the mythology had been building toward. They are counterparts. Both are outputs of the catalyst comet cycle. Both are necessary to the universe's current operation. The timing of each comet's arrival tells you something about the universe's priorities. The green comet hit during the Cretaceous, when the dominant life form was dinosaurs. The comet killed them and produced the Ice Age. One could read this as the universe resetting, removing a form of life to make space for what would come next. Extinction as cosmic housekeeping. The blue comet hit after the Mushroom War. After the Lich was activated, the heroism principle was introduced at the moment when the world most needed it, when the extinction drive had just been given a body and had begun its project of annihilating all life. The universe introduced the counterforce precisely when the force it was countering was most active. This timing suggests the universe has something like a responsive intelligence, not a plan exactly, but a reactive system. When something threatens life, the system introduces the thing that defends life. The Lich threatens life. Finn defends life. Both are necessary for the system to function. Both are introduced by the same mechanism. The comet cycle is not good versus evil in a moralistic sense. It is the universe maintaining a dynamic equilibrium between the principles it contains, expansion, G, the birthmark, the hat, and the body that carries the history. Finn's body is a catalogue of his cosmic history, and most viewers never stop to read it. The birthmark, confirmed in Crossover, Season 6. A flaming sideways teardrop on his body, which the Adventure Time wiki on Catalyst Comets confirms, is a reference to his past life as a comet. He has carried this since birth. It was there in every episode of the show, hidden under his clothes. The cosmic identity mark, present but not visible to the audience for 6 seasons, is revealed specifically in a crossover episode about alternate universes, as if the show is saying, in the full context of all possible versions of this character, this mark is what connects them. The white hat, Finn's signature item, made from a bear, worn from the beginning of the show to the end. In the pilot, the character is named Pen and wears a white hat. When the show became a series, and the character became Finn, the hat remained. The Wikipedia article on Finn notes, Ward spent much of his childhood at home, and he described his indoor adventure experience as inspiring Finn and Jake, the dog's adventures. The hat is autobiographical, a specific thing from Ward's creative imagination, but in the context of the full lore, Finn wears white. White is the colour of the absence of colour, the full spectrum unreduced to any single wavelength. White is the colour of the blue comet's most purified form. Blue comets appear bluish-white against space. The hero wears the colour of what he came from. The bear's face is on the front of the hat. Finn wears a bear as a hat, specifically the face of a bear, which he defeated to obtain the hat in the show's original context, wearing the face of what you defeated as a trophy. The first victory is embedded in his most persistent piece of clothing. He has been carrying his first conquest since the beginning, the missing teeth. The Adventure Time wiki. He has several missing teeth, which Ward explained as being due to the character never having been to a dentist. But in the context of the body as history reading, Finn's body shows the cost of the life he's been living before the show started. He has been fighting things since before the show began. The missing teeth are the evidence. He arrived into the show's narrative already marked by its preconditions. The mechanical arm. After reboot, Finn has a mechanical prosthetic. This is the show's most explicit acknowledgement that the heroism principle adapts. The arm is lost. The response is not to stop being the heroism principle. The response is to find a new arm, to continue. The mechanical arm is the heroism principle's most visible symbol of its persistence. It loses things and finds ways to keep going. In Come Along With Me, the mechanical arm is bitten off in Golb's mouth. The finale costs him the prosthetic, the replacement for the replacement. At the end of the series, Finn is one-armed again. He entered the series in a complete body. He ends the series as an adult in Obsidian with a tattoo of Jake and a new functional arm, having been through the full cycle of arm loss and replacement and loss again. The tattoo on his chest in Obsidian is a tattoo of Jake. The Adventure Time wiki on Finn notes, Jonathan Frakes voices Finn as an adult in some appearances. The adult Finn carries Jake on his chest, over his heart. The heroism principle carries its companion in the most permanent possible way, not on a removable item, not in memory alone, but marked on the body. Jake is part of Finn's body in the same way the birthmark is. The history is in the skin. Expansion H, the Finn sword, Fern, and the paradox of the heroism principles doubling. The Finn sword arc is one of the show's strangest and least analysed pieces of mythology, and it connects directly to the theory about Finn's cosmic nature in ways that are worth unpacking. In Is That You? Season 7, Finn encounters an alternate version of himself from the past through a portal. The interaction creates a temporal paradox, two Finns existing simultaneously, and the resolution of the paradox produces the Finn sword, a sword made from a paradoxical Finn. The wiki confirms the blade was created when Finn interacted with an alternate Finn from the past, creating a paradox. The heroism principle, when it touches itself from a different time, produces a weapon. This is strange cosmologically. The heroism principle doubled produces a sword, not a companion, not another heroism principle running simultaneously, a sword. A tool of heroism, rather than another practitioner of it. The double can't coexist as itself. The universe resolves the paradox by collapsing one instance into an instrument of the other. Fern, the grass sword, and the Finn sword merge to form Fern, a being made of both the Finn sword and the grass sword, who has Finn's memories and his face and his feelings without being Finn. Fern's specific tragedy is the tragedy of being the heroism principle in a form that knows It is not the heroism principle. He believes he is Finn. He has Finn's memories. He does not have Finn's cosmic inheritance, or rather, he has it in a form that is simultaneously identical to and different from Finn's form. 3 buckets, documents. Fern's arc reaching its most painful point. Fern, believing himself to be Finn, taking increasingly extreme actions to prove he is the real one. The episode ends with Fern as an antagonist who sincerely believes he is the hero, and Finn is the usurper. The heroism principle, doubled and paradoxed into 2 forms, in conflict with itself. The finale resolves this. Fern and Finn cooperate to destroy the grass demon. The grass demon is connected to Fern. Both die. Fern, in his last moments, asks Finn to bury him at the treehouse. "I just want to be home," he says. He wants to go to the place that is both of their home, the treehouse that grew from Shoko's bones, the treehouse that contains the heroism principle's history in its very structure. He wants to return to the origin. Finn buries him there. A tree grows from where Fern is buried, a tree from the seed that came from Fern's dissolution. The heroism principle, doubled and then resolved, produces a new tree at the site of the old tree, life from the death of the double. The treehouse ends, it is destroyed in the finale's Golby battle, and a new tree begins. And Shermie and Beth take the regrown Finn sword from this tree in the distant future. The sword made from the paradox of the heroism principle touching itself across time, regrown from the tree that grew from the heroism principle's double's death, taken by the heroism principle's next incarnations. The weapon travels with the principle across time and reincarnations. Expansion 1. What the theory changes when you rewatch the show. The specific promise of the darkest theory that changes everything is that once you know it, you can't unknow it, and everything looks different. Let me make that explicit. Season 1, Episode 1, Slumber Party Panic. Finn accidentally creates candy zombies. He and Jake try to fix the problem. In the background of the very first episode, a skeleton is in PB's dungeon. PB walks past it without comment, and Finn is 12 years old, enthusiastically and somewhat recklessly solving a problem he created. With the theory, the heroism principle, in its current instantiation, is 12 years old and just figuring out what it is. It is enthusiastic and reckless because it hasn't fully developed the wisdom that the cosmic principle it represents has accumulated across millions of years. The blue comet's essence is in a child's body. The child is learning. The urgency of slumber party panic. This is a real crisis, and Finn is doing his best, and his best involves some significant mistakes, is the heroism principle in its most raw and unformed expression. Season 3, Holly Jolly Secrets, Part 2. Finn watches Simon's video diaries and cries. He cries for Simon/Ice King because the Ice King, in this moment, is revealed to be a tragedy rather than a goofy villain. But also, the Ice King is someone who was given something that was supposed to be a tool for good, the crown, which was made to stop a comet, and had it turn him into something that harms people. The heroism principle cries for the person who was supposed to use a tool of good and was consumed by it. Season 4, I Remember You. The heroism principle sits in the same room as the most significant tragedy the post-war world produced, the loss of Simon to the crown, and the only thing it can do is witness it. It can't fix it. It can't undo it. The heroism principle has limits. It can protect people from external threats. It cannot protect them from the things that have already happened, from the tools that have already taken them. Season 6, Escape from the Citadel. The heroism principle reaches for its biological father. The father leaves. The arm is severed. The heroism principle sinks. With the theory, this is the heroism principle's most direct encounter with its own limits. The limits of what heroism can do against the specific kind of damage that a parent's departure inflicts. You cannot fight your way out of abandonment. You cannot be heroic enough to make someone who is leaving stay. The heroism principle fails at the specific task that requires something other than heroism, and the arm of action, of reaching, of fighting, is what the failure costs. Season 6 finale, The Comet. The heroism principle is offered the chance to become what it originally was, cosmic, non-physical, transcendent, and it says no. With the theory, this is the most significant choice in the show's run. The heroism principle, offered the chance to return to its cosmic form, chooses its current physical incarnation. It chooses Jake and PB and Marceline and BMO and OO. It chooses the specific, over the universal. It chooses to be Finn rather than to be the blue comet. This is what makes Finn heroic in the show's deepest sense. Not that he fights monsters, but that he chooses the world. He chooses the specific, particular, mortal life over the cosmic, eternal, transcendent alternative. The heroism principle is heroic because it stays. Expansion J, the specific meaning of the last human. Finn's identity as the last human, which the show gradually complicates and eventually dismantles, is part of the theory in ways that deserve attention. The opening of Adventure Time establishes Finn as Finn the Human, his last name being the Human, because that is what makes him uniquely identifiable in a world of non-human beings. For several seasons, this identity is central. He is the only human, the unique one, the hero in a world that has moved past humanity. With the theory, the heroism principle's current instantiation is human because the blue comet hit Earth in the post-Mushroom War period when humanity was near extinct. The principle reincarnated into humanity's remaining genetic material. Finn being human is not coincidental. The heroism principle chose, or the universe chose for it, to instantiate in the species most under threat from the extinction principle's consequences. The last human is the heroism principle's current form because humanity needed the heroism principle most. The gradual discovery that other humans exist, the island communities, Minerva, the descendants of two-bred Tom, does not diminish Finn's identity, but contextualizes it differently. He is not the last human in the sense of the only one remaining. He is the one human who ended up in U, the specific place where the world's most significant cosmic conflict is occurring. He is the human who is where the heroism principle needs to be. The other humans are safe on their islands. Finn is where the Lich is. This is not coincidence. This is the blue comet, having guided its reincarnation to the specific location where the extinction principle is most active. The heroism principle is in U because that is where the extinction principle is. The cosmic counterparts need to be in the same world. Expansion K. Everything that looked like ordinary adventure now looks like cosmic history. Every fight Finn and Jake have ever had with the Lich was not simply a good guy fighting a bad guy. It was the heroism principle fighting the extinction principle, using physical bodies as their hosts in a world that was rebuilt from the nuclear aftermath of the previous time the extinction principle was activated. Every time Finn has protected someone, he has been the universe's heroism mechanism, expressing itself through a specific person who happens to be a 12-year-old and later teenage and later adult boy in a white bear hat. Every time he has failed, the manipulation of Flame Princess, the depression after Martin, the various moments of teenage selfishness, he has been the heroism principle experiencing what it means to be something imperfect and contingent and human. This is the show's deepest irony. The heroism principle is imperfect. It is contingent. It makes mistakes. It loses its arm reaching for people who leave. It manipulates its girlfriend to recreate an emotional experience. It sinks to the bottom of a crystallized fluid and needs its dog brother to pull it up. The heroism principle is heroic, not because it is immune to failure, but because it keeps choosing to try after failing. And this is why the theory makes Finn's whole arc more significant, not less. He is not simply a cosmic entity wearing a 12-year-old's body. He is a 12-year-old who is also simultaneously the universe's heroism principle, both at once. The heroism principle is as real and alive as Finn is, because it is expressed through Finn, through his specific choices, his specific failures, his specific loves. The cosmic dimension doesn't reduce the personal dimension, it deepens it. Every time Finn chooses to stay in the comet, in the small daily choices of his life, in the choice to reincarnate with Jake at the end of Together Again, the heroism principle is choosing what heroism is, not cosmic transcendence, not abstract virtue, the specific person, the specific world, the specific relationships that make the specific life worth living. The theory changes everything because it shows you that all the ordinary things were always the point. The camping trips and the BMO games and the soccer matches and the bad dates and the good fights and Jake's Mr. Fox voice. These are not separate from the cosmic architecture. They are the cosmic architecture. The heroism principle is expressed in them completely. The white hat, the missing teeth, the birthmark, the arm that keeps being lost, the friend who keeps coming back, the choice to stay. That's the theory, all of it. the darkest one, and also, when you look at it fully, the most hopeful one. Thank you for spending this time tonight. Subscribe if you haven't. Come back. Good night. Expansion. L. The specific evidence from episodes. Most people don't connect to this theory. Most analyses of Finn's cosmic nature focus on the big mythology episodes, the Vault, the Comet, Escape from the Citadel, but the theory actually shows up in smaller moments scattered throughout the show that aren't typically analysed through this lens. Let me go through several of them. Mortal Folly, Season 2, Episodes 24 and 25. The first major Lich encounter. Finn fights the Lich at his Well of Power. He is 12. He has no real understanding of what the Lich is beyond extremely dangerous, but the show gives him a specific piece of protection. Princess Bubblegum's amulet, the amulet that was stolen from her by Shoko in a past life, protects Finn from the Lich's mind control. The item that was the object of the heroism principle's greatest failure in its previous incarnation is now the thing that protects the heroism principle's current incarnation from the extinction principle's mind control. The amulet was stolen. Shoko died. Finn later returned it. And then it was protecting him from the thing his cosmic existence is structured around opposing. The cycle of the amulet's history, theft, guilt, return, protection, is the show telling you something about how the heroism principle relates to its own mistakes. The failure becomes the protection. What was taken and returned protects the one who returned it. King Worm, Season 4, Episode 18. Finn is trapped in a dream by a king worm who is feeding on his dreams. In the dream, Finn sees himself as an adult with one arm. This is one of the earlier foreshadowings of the arm loss, but in the specific context of a dream sequence about a parasitic creature feeding on Finn's fears. The heroism principle's body, even in its fears, shows the pattern of its cosmic history. The adult Finn with one arm appears in the nightmare because the arm loss is something Finn senses coming, somehow, without consciously knowing why. Puhoi, Season 5, Episode 18. Finn falls into a pillow world through a couch cushion portal. He lives an entire life there, marries a pillow woman named Rosalinen, has children, grows old, eventually finds a way back to U, and wakes up as 12-year-old Finn with no memory of the pillow life. The episode is presented as ambiguous. Was it real or was it a dream? But here's the detail the theory highlights. In the pillow world, old Finn has one arm, the heroism principle, even in an entirely different dimension with different physics and a different body, and no access to the specific circumstances that cost the main timeline Finn his arm, ends up one-armed. The pattern is not circumstantial. It is intrinsic to whatever the heroism principle is. It loses the right arm because the right arm is what it costs the heroism principle to exist in physical form over time. Astral Plane, Season 6, Episode 25. This episode contains one of the most explicit statements of the Catalyst Comet mythology before the comet itself. The narration: every 1,000 years, the Catalyst Comet mysteriously reincarnates itself, bringing with it an agent of change. This is delivered over a vision that Finn has while his body is asleep, an astral projection experience that allows him to move invisibly through the world and observe things from above. In the astral state, Finn observes Magic Man's transformation into normal man, a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, and the approaching trajectory of what appears to be a comet, actually Martin's spaceship. The butterfly is Finn's past life. He watches the transformation that is also, in some sense, part of his own history, the heroism principle passing through its butterfly form, the transformation from one physical expression to another. He watches it from outside himself, in an astral state, without knowing he is watching his own history. This is the show at its most specific about what the theory means. Finn, without knowing what he is, gravitates toward the evidence of what he is. He watches the butterfly transform. He witnesses the comet's approach. He is attuned to the things that are part of his cosmic history, because that history is literally inside him. Be Sweet, Season 7, Episode 22. Sweet Pea, the baby Lich, the extinction principle, in a body built for gentleness, has a dream about a sinister presence offering him power. The presence is the Lich, trying to reassert control through Sweet Pea's dream. The dream is stopped by the arrival of a figure who seems to be the cosmic owl, but the details are ambiguous. What's relevant to the theory, Sweet Pea resists. The extinction principle, in this incarnation, is offered the chance to be the extinction principle again, and says no. This is what the heroism principle's action in Escape from the Citadel produced an extinction principle that has been given a body and a life and a context that makes the wrong choice harder to make. Sweet Pea doesn't say no because he lacks the extinction principle's power. He says no because he has been given something to protect. Tree trunks and Mr. Pig, his adoptive parents, the specific life that the heroism principle's action made possible for him. The theory's implication, Finn's choice to use guardian blood on the Lich, which produced Sweet Pea, was the heroism principle's most significant act of the show's run, not destroying the Lich, transforming the Lich, giving the extinction principle a context in which it might choose differently. Expansion. M. The Blue Comet and the Lich's simultaneous arrival and what it means. I want to linger on the timing one more time, because the simultaneous or near simultaneous arrival of the Blue Comet and the Lich's awakening is the show's most specific piece of cosmological architecture, and it carries more weight than the main script gave it. The mushroom bomb falls, the Lich emerges. This is the moment of the Lich's physical awakening, the moment the extinction principle is given a body made from nuclear fallout and ancient green comet residue. It is the most significant single event in the show's timeline. The worst thing that happened to the world happened at this moment, and then the Blue Comet hits. The Catalyst Comet's wiki is specific. Being the incarnation of pure good, this comet led to the creation of the hero who would thwart the Lich's plans and battle various other threats. The comet hit after the Mushroom War, after the Lich was awakened. The show doesn't state the causal link explicitly, but the timing is what the wiki documents. The heroism principle arrived in the same period as the extinction principle's activation. What does this suggest about the universe's nature? Not that it planned the Mushroom War, not that it arranged for the extinction principle to be activated, but that when the extinction principle is activated, the universe has a mechanism for introducing the counterforce. The Catalyst Comet cycle is this mechanism. Every 1,000 years, a new agent of change. When the situation calls for the heroism principle arrives. The Lich's awakening called for the heroism principle. The Blue Comet delivered it. And here is the specific dark element this adds to the theory. Finn would not exist in this form as the heroism principle in a human child's body without the Mushroom War. The catastrophe that created the world he is protecting is also the event that made his cosmic arrival necessary. The same bombs that killed the East Coast commuters, bundled up for winter in the subway station, also, by awakening the Lich, triggered the cosmic mechanism that eventually produced Finn. Finn owes his existence, in the most fundamental cosmic sense, to the worst day in the world's history. The heroism principle arrived because the worst day happened. Without the worst day, the heroism principle might have arrived in a different form, at a different time, for different reasons. But this specific Finn, the Blue Comet's current instantiation, the boy in Ooh who fights the Lich and protects the Candy Kingdom and chooses to stay, is a consequence of the bomb. This is the theory at its darkest. Finn is the world's response to its own worst catastrophe. He is what the universe generated in the aftermath of the Mushroom War. He is the healing mechanism of a world that was broken. And he doesn't know this. He knows he lives in a world built on ruins. He knows there was a war. He does not know that his cosmic existence was triggered by that war. He lives in the aftermath and tries to do good because that's what feels right. The universe agrees that it's right because it arranged for him to be there for exactly that purpose. Expansion, final assembly, and the complete theory. Let me assemble the complete theory one final time, precisely, so you have the full picture. Finn the human is the current physical instantiation of the Blue Catalyst Comet's principle, the universe's heroism mechanism. The comet hit Earth after the Mushroom War, in the same period as the Lich's awakening, and the wiki confirms its purpose was to bring the hero who would thwart the Lich. The principle then reincarnated through several forms: comet, butterfly, pink interdimensional blob, Shoko, Finn. Shoko was the heroism principle's most recent prior incarnation. She was a one-armed thief in the founding period of the Candy Kingdom, abandoned by parents who sold her arm. She was given kindness by Princess Bubblegum and betrayed that kindness by stealing PB's amulet. She died in the radioactive river under the Candy Castle and spent centuries as a ghost attached to the treehouse she grew. Finn is the heroism principle's corrective incarnation after Shoko's failure. He was born on Hub Island to Martin Mertens and Minerva Campbell. Martin accidentally separated from Finn as an infant while trying to protect him from his enemies, sustaining a head injury in the process that altered his personality. Finn drifted to Ooo on a raft, was found by Joshua and Margaret, and grew up without knowing his origin or his cosmic identity. His body carries the evidence of his history, a birthmark shaped like a flaming sideways teardrop, reference to his comet past life. Repeated loss of the right arm across all incarnations and alternate timelines, the heroism principle's characteristic cost, and eventually a tattoo of Jake on his chest, marking the companion principle that travels with the heroism principle across reincarnations. His cosmic counterpart is the Lich, the green catalyst comet's current instantiation, the extinction principle given a physical body by the mushroom bomb. They are both outputs of the same cosmic mechanism, the catalyst comet cycle. The purple comet's statement, "I have embodied all that is good and evil," is confirmed on screen as referring to Finn, good, and the Lich, evil. Finn's most significant moral act, returning the amulet to PB in the vault, is the completion of Shoko's most significant moral failure, accomplished in the heroism principle's corrective incarnation. He does in his lifetime what his previous incarnation failed to do in hers. His most significant choice, declining the purple comet's offer to ascend in the comet, is the heroism principle choosing the specific over the cosmic, the mortal over the transcendent, Jake and Ooo, and everything particular over anything universal. His reincarnation continues. In Together Again, he chooses to be reborn with Jake. Shermie and Beth, in the distant future, carry forward what he was. The heroism principle continues in new forms. This is the darkest theory about Finn. It is also the most complete one, and it is, in the end, not a reduction of who Finn is, but an expansion of it. The 12-year-old boy in the white hat is also the heroism principle in its current form. The cosmic architecture makes the small moments larger, not smaller. The camping trips and the soccer games and the BMO sessions and the good fights, these are not diminished by the cosmic frame. They are elevated by it. The heroism principle chose to stay and live them every single time. Thank you for spending all of this time with this theory. Every piece of it is confirmed canonical lore. The show built it across 10 seasons and multiple specials and trusted you to assemble it. Tonight, we assembled it. Subscribe. Come back. Good night. Expansion. Oh, what Jake is in this framework and why the companion matters. If Finn is the heroism principle's current instantiation, Jake's cosmic nature is the theory's necessary second chapter, because they are always together, and the show has confirmed that they are always together across reincarnations. The Catalyst Comets. Wiki notes, the comet that Orgolorg sought to absorb possessed a yellow coloration which appeared akin to Jake. Whether or not that comet was a previous incarnation of Jake has yet to be revealed. The wiki stops short of confirming this, but the visual match is deliberate. Yellow comet, yellow dog. The show is pointing at something without stating it directly. Jesse Moynihan confirmed that Jake is a reincarnation of Shoko's tiger. The Together Again Distant Lands special canonically reaffirmed this. Shoko's companion was her tiger. Finn's companion is Jake. The heroism principle and its companion travel together across incarnations. But Jake is not the heroism principle. He is something else. He is the companion principle, the one who balances the heroism principle's earnestness with pragmatism, who provides the relationship that keeps the heroism principle from becoming abstract. The heroism principle needs a companion, because heroism without a specific relationship to protect is just aggression. Jake is who Finn is being heroic for, not abstractly, specifically, the shape-shifting. Jake can change his size and shape. He is made of magical material, the result of a shape-shifting nightmare creature depositing something in Joshua's head that gives him impossible physical flexibility. He can be a house. He can be a spaceship. He can be the hand that reaches into a hole to save someone. He is physically the most flexible being in the show's world. In the context of the companion principle, Jake's flexibility is the complement to Finn's rigidity. Finn's body is mortal and specific, and loses things permanently. Jake's body is infinitely adaptable. The heroism principle is embodied in something that can be damaged and lost. The companion principle is embodied in something that can flow around obstacles and change its shape to meet whatever need presents itself. Together, they are complete. Jake's death and Finn's response. Jake dies before Finn. The tattoo, the decades of adult life Finn spends carrying Jake on his chest. The heroism principle, after losing its companion, continues. This is the show's statement about what heroism is. When the relationship that motivated it is gone, you carry it, you mark it on your body, you live the rest of the life the relationship was part of, carrying the memory of it as carefully as you can, and then you find each other in the dead worlds. Because the companion principle doesn't abandon the heroism principle at death. They find each other. They choose to come back together. The reincarnation is mutual. The next version of the heroism principle arrives with the next version of the companion principle. They are Shermie and Beth, whoever those people turn out to be, in the distant future of Ooh. Expansion. P. What this theory means for the show's ending. Come Along With Me concludes with multiple things simultaneously. Golb defeated. The Gum War ended. Betty merged with GOLB. Simon restored. PB and Marceline confirmed. Fern dead and buried. A tree growing from where he fell. And a flash forward to the distant future where BMO narrates the Gum War to Shermie and Beth. With the theory, the series finale is the heroism principle's current instantiation, completing its cosmic work in this specific period. Not defeating the Lich permanently. The Lich is Sweet Pea now, and Sweet Pea is a mountain in the future, and the extinction principle is not gone, but transformed, but completing the specific chapter of the cosmic conflict that began when the blue comet hit Earth after the Mushroom War. The heroism principle, in this incarnation, did specific things. It returned Shoko's stolen amulet, completing a loop that had been open for centuries. It fought the extinction principle multiple times without destroying it. It transformed the extinction principle's physical form in a way that gave the extinction principle a context for choosing differently. It declined transcendence to stay in the world it was protecting. It grew up, aged, lost its arm multiple times, found it multiple times, loved specific people, and then died of old age after Jake died. And then it reincarnated. The series finale's flash forward shows Shermie and Beth receiving the Finn sword from the enormous tree. The heroism principle's next form is armed with the artifact of its previous form's paradox. The cycle continues. The theory makes the ending not a conclusion, but a transition. The show is not ending because the adventure is over. It is ending because this specific instantiation of the adventure, Finn and Jake, in Ooh, in this specific period, is transitioning into the next one. Adventure Time is not the story of Finn. It is the story of the heroism principle's current period of activity, told through Finn. When Finn's period ends, the story transitions to Shermie and Beth, and eventually to whoever comes after them. The title, Adventure Time, is, with this reading, not referring to a specific adventure or a specific time. It is referring to a universal condition. For the heroism principle, it is always adventure time. In every incarnation, in every form, in every world, the comet hits, the principle arrives, the adventure begins. This has been happening since before the Cretaceous. It will happen after the far future of Ooh is itself ancient history. Adventure time never ends. The adventures just happen to different people. Expansion Q. The complete catalogue of evidence. Let me compile, in one place, all the confirmed canonical evidence for the theory. Every piece of it is sourced from the Adventure Time wiki, specific episodes, or confirmed production statements. 1. The Purple Catalyst Comet explicitly associates Finn with good and the Lich with evil in The Comet, Season 6. This is on-screen visual confirmation that they are the two faces of the same cosmic mechanism. 2. The Catalyst Comets. Wiki states, one of Finn's past lives was a blue incarnation of the comet, which struck Earth sometime after the Mushroom War. Being the incarnation of pure good, this comet led to the creation of the hero who would thwart the Lich's plans. 3. Finn's past lives are confirmed in the Vault as Catalyst Comet, Butterfly, Pink Interdimensional Blob, and Shoko. The TV Tropes recap confirms his past lives were a comet, a butterfly, a blob from a higher dimension, and a green-skinned lady named Shoko. 4. Both Shoko and Finn were abandoned by their parents. The Adventure Time wiki on the Vault explicitly draws this parallel. Both Shoko and Finn were abandoned by their parents when they were little. 5. Shoko's parents sold her right arm. Finn loses his right arm in Escape from the Citadel. All alternate versions and future visions of Finn also feature the lost right arm. 6. Jesse Moynihan confirmed Jake is a reincarnation of Shoko's tiger, canonically reaffirmed in Together Again. 7. Finn has a birthmark shaped like a flaming sideways teardrop, confirmed in Crossover. The Catalyst Comets wiki states this is a reference to his past life as a comet. 8. The Adventure Time wiki on Martin Mertens states, it's most likely that the head injury caused permanent brain damage and is largely responsible for his personality and memory issues. Martin's injury explains his post-separation behavior. 9. Finn declines the Purple Comet's offer to ascend in the comet. Martin accepts it instead. 10. Finn and Jake choose to reincarnate together in Together Again. Life is the entity in charge of reincarnation, and she creates new bodies from clay. 11. Shermie and Beth in the distant future take the Finn sword from the tree that grew from Fern's dissolution. The heroism principle's next incarnations carry the artifact of its previous incarnation. 12. The Catalyst Comets wiki. The comet that Orgolorg sought to absorb possessed a yellow coloration which appeared akin to Jake. These 12 pieces of evidence, assembled, constitute the theory, all confirmed canonical, all from the show's own lore, its own episodes, its own production statements. No speculation required beyond the synthesis. The theory changes everything because it reveals the frame the show was always using. The boy and his dog going on adventures in a candy-colored world is also the universe's heroism principle in its current form, doing what it has always done, shaped by the specific failure of its previous form, traveling with the companion principle across reincarnations, opposing the extinction principle that is its cosmic counterpart, choosing every time to stay rather than transcend. That is Finn the human. That is the darkest theory about him. That is also the most complete portrait of what he is. Good night. Final section. The specific texture of what it means to be Finn knowing the theory. I want to end not with the cosmic architecture, but with the specific person, because the theory is only meaningful if it makes Finn more real, not less. Finn wears a white bear hat. He has been wearing it since before the show started. The Adventure Time wiki on his origin notes that the hat appeared in the original 2007 pilot. It predates the mythology. It predates the Lich Arc and the Catalyst Comet mythology and the Shoko revelation and all of it. The hat was there first, and the hat is just a hat. It is a specific hat from a specific bear that a specific 12-year-old boy decided to wear because he liked it. The cosmic architecture doesn't choose the hat. Finn does. The heroism principle, expressed through a specific child, makes specific choices that have nothing to do with cosmic significance and everything to do with who that specific child is. He likes the hat. The hat is his. It is not a symbol of cosmic heroism. It is a bear hat that he likes. This is the show's deepest statement about the relationship between the cosmic and the personal. The cosmic manifests through the personal, not instead of it. Finn is not the heroism principle wearing Finn as a costume. Finn is the heroism principle expressing itself as a specific boy with a specific hat and specific friends and specific fears and a specific way of going mathematical when something is cool. The theory is dark because it shows you how large Finn's existence is. It is also warm because it shows you that the largeness is expressed through the smallness. The comet that brought the heroism principle to Earth did not produce a cosmic being. It produced a kid who likes meatloaf and hates being to a dentist and has a best friend who can turn into a house. The heroism principle, when given a choice of how to express itself, chose this. It chose Finn, and Finn chose to stay. That is the complete theory. Thank you for all of this time tonight. Every piece of it is confirmed in the show's own lore. The show built it for you. It trusted you to find it. Tonight we found it together. Subscribe if you haven't. Come back. Good night. Coda. The 12 pieces of confirmed evidence. One more time, because this is the kind of video that warrants a recap. Let me say it once more clearly. The blue Catalyst Comet hit Earth after the Mushroom War, and its essence reincarnated through several forms before becoming Finn. This is in the wiki. This is confirmed. Finn's past lives are Comet, Butterfly, Pink Blob, Shoko. Confirmed in The Vault. Canonically supported. Shoko and Finn were both abandoned by their parents. Confirmed in The Vault. Shoko lost her right arm. Finn loses his right arm. Every alternate Finn loses the right arm. This pattern is documented across the show. Jake is a reincarnation of Shoko's tiger, confirmed by Jesse Moynihan and Together Again. Finn has a birthmark referencing his comet past life, confirmed in Crossover. The purple comet visually links Finn to good and the Lich to evil in the comet. This is on screen. Martin's head injury may explain his behavior. The Martin Wiki notes this. Finn declined the comet's offer to ascend. Martin accepted it. This happened in the comet. Finn and Jake chose to reincarnate together in Together Again. Shermie and Beth carry the Finn sword in the distant future, continuing the heroism principles chain. All 12 pieces, confirmed canon, not speculation. The show built this over 10 seasons. That's the theory. That's Finn. That's everything. Good night. And one more thing. The specific moment the theory hinges on. The purple comet saying, "I have embodied all that is good and evil," while the shot shows Finn and then the Lich. That moment is 11 seconds long. 11 seconds in a 600-minute show. The whole theory is in 11 seconds that most viewers watched and filed away as mythology they'd come back to. This is what Adventure Time does. It puts the most important things in the frames you're most likely to miss. It trusts you to come back. You came back. You found it. That's right. Good night. Appendix. Key episodes for this theory. Holly Jolly Secrets Part 2, Season 3, November 21st, 2011. Simon's Video Diaries. The Ice King's Humanity Confirmed. The Vault, Season 5, Episode 34, September 16th, 2013. Finn's Past Lives Revealed. Comet, Butterfly, Pink Blob, Shoko, the skeleton in the floorboards, the amulet returned, the heroism principle completing its previous incarnation's unfinished business. Simon and Marcy, Season 5, Episode 14, March 25th, 2013. The post-war period showing what the world was like, that the heroism principle's blue comet arrived into. Billy's Bucket List, Season 5, Episode 52, March 10th, 2014. Finn learns his father is alive. The setup for the arm loss. Escape from the Citadel, Season 6, Episode 2, April 21st, 2014. Martin, The Arm, The Flower, 3.321 million viewers. The heroism principle's arm lost, reaching for its father. Breezy, Season 6, Episode 6, May 12th, 2014. The Depression Arc. The heroism principle, without its arm. Numb, Seeking Sensation. Astral Plane, Season 6, Episode 25, January 23rd, 2015. The Catalyst Comet Mythology, first explicitly stated. The Comet, Season 6, Episode 43, June 5th, 2015. The Purple Comet, the Ascension Offer. Finn declines. Martin accepts. The confirmation that Finn and the Lich are the comet's two outputs of good and evil. Crossover, Season 7, Episode 28, April 2nd, 2016. The birthmark confirmed as a reference to Finn's comet past life. Min and Marty, Season 8, Episode 12, February 2nd, 2017. Martin's origin confirmed. The head injury explained. The separation revealed as accidental. Is That You? Season 7, Episode 4, November 5th, 2015. The Finn sword created from the paradox of two Finns. Three Buckets, Season 10, Episode 4, May 18th, 2018. Fern versus Finn. The heroism principle doubled, in conflict with itself. Come Along With Me, Season 10, Series Finale, September 3rd, 2018. Fern buried. The tree grows. The heroism principle's current chapter closes. Together Again, Distant Lands, May 27th, 2021. Finn and Jake's deaths and reunion confirmed. The choice to reincarnate together. All of these episodes, assembled, document the theory. All of the evidence is in the show. It was there the entire time. Good night. And if you're lying awake now, if you're thinking about the 11 seconds in the comet where the purple entity says good and evil and the show shows you Finn and then the Lich, about the birthmark on Finn's chest that was there all along, about Shoko crawling to the sapling and dying, about the treehouse that is Shoko's guilt and Finn's home simultaneously, about the arm that keeps being lost and the flower that keeps growing from the wound. That's right, that's the theory landing. That's the show doing exactly what it was always trying to do. It built this for you, across 10 seasons, in the background, in the episodes you thought were about something else. It was always about this. Good night. Final reflection. The specific quality of a theory that uses only confirmed canon. Most Adventure Time theories are speculative. They assemble evidence, make inferences, identify patterns that could be coincidental. The Finn theory we've been assembling tonight is different, and I want to be specific about why. Every single piece of the theory is confirmed canonical information. The blue comet as Finn's past life, confirmed in The Vault and The Comet. The Lich as the green comet's incarnation, confirmed in Evergreen and The Comet. The visual pairing of Finn with good and the Lich with evil, on screen in The Comet. Finn's birthmark referencing his comet past life, confirmed in Crossover. Jake as a reincarnation of Shoko's tiger, confirmed by Jesse Moynihan, and canonically reaffirmed in Together Again. Both Shoko and Finn abandoned by their parents, stated explicitly in the wiki on The Vault. Martin's head injury as an explanation for his personality, documented in the Martin wiki with promo art evidence. The theory is not, what if Finn is the heroism principle? It is, Finn is confirmed to be a blue catalyst comet reincarnation, and this is what that means when you read all the confirmed lore together. The synthesis is the theory, the individual pieces are facts. The act of putting them together in a coherent framework is what the video was about. This is what the fan community that built the Adventure Time Conspiracy Tumblr blog and the Adventure Time wiki and the various lore tracking communities has been doing across the entire run of the show, assembling confirmed facts into coherent pictures. The show trusted this kind of attention. It built in the details that would pay off for careful viewers. The birthmark in Crossover, the past lives in The Vault, the visual confirmation in The Comet. All of these were placed deliberately, knowing that viewers who were paying close enough attention would find them. This is also why the theory changes everything when you know it. It doesn't change what happened in the episodes, those are fixed. It changes how you read what happened. The same events, seen through the framework of Finn as the heroism principle's current instantiation, carry different weight. They were always this significant. You just didn't have the full frame. The show built the frame. It put the pieces in specific episodes across specific seasons and trusted that sufficiently attentive viewers would eventually assemble them. And they did. The theory exists because viewers paid attention the way the show deserved. This is what it means to love a show well, to give it the attention it earned, to notice the birthmark and the arm pattern and the 11 seconds in The Comet and the specific parallel drawn in The Vault between Shoko and Finn's parental abandonment, to hold all of it and find the picture. You found it tonight. It was there. It was always there. Adventure Time is a show about a boy and his dog going on adventures in a candy-coloured world. It is also a show about the universe's heroism principle, currently instantiated as a boy and his dog in a specific world at a specific moment in the heroism principle's ongoing history. Both statements are true. Neither diminishes the other. This is the show's deepest understanding of what heroism is. Not the grand and cosmic, but the specific and daily. Not the transcendent choice to become something larger, but the specific choice to stay exactly where you are and protect what is there to protect. The hero chose to stay. The hero always chooses to stay. Thank you. Good night. And that's what makes the theory dark, finally. Not that Finn's existence is diminished by being the heroism principle, but that the heroism principle's existence is shaped by the catastrophe that produced the extinction principle. Finn exists because the Lich exists. The heroism principle is in Oo because the extinction principle is in Oo. The blue comet arrived because the green comet's consequences were severe enough to trigger the universe's counterforce mechanism. The hero is the world's response to its worst wound. The adventure is the world healing itself. That's the darkest theory about Finn that changes everything, and now you know it. And you can't unknow it. Good night. One more thing. The treehouse. Finn sleeps in a treehouse that grew from Shoko's body. He has slept there since before the show started. The treehouse was there in the first episode. It was there because Shoko was there. Her bones in the ground, her guilt keeping her attached. The sapling she died against growing over and around her across the centuries, until it became the enormous tree that Finn's family built a house in. He has been sleeping above his own past life skeleton for the show's entire run. The guilt that kept her attached to the world is the soil that grew his home. The wrong choice became the foundation of the place where the corrective incarnation lives. And when the treehouse is destroyed in the series finale, Golb's monsters tearing it apart in the Gum War battle, the destruction is complete. The house built on Shoko's guilt is gone. Finn doesn't rebuild it. A new tree grows from where Fern is buried, next to the ruins of the old one. The history in the floorboards is finally released. The heroism principle completed its work there. The loop closed when Finn returned the amulet in the vault. The treehouse's destruction in the finale is the physical completion of that closure. The structure built on the old guilt doesn't need to stand anymore. Something new grows. Something new always grows. Good night. Expansion. What the theory means for every version of Finn across dimensions. One of the most striking pieces of evidence for the theory, and one that rarely gets assembled into a coherent argument, is what happens when you look at every alternate version of Finn that the show presents across dimensions and timelines. Not just the right arm pattern, which we've already covered, but the specific texture of each alternate Finn's life and what it tells you about what the heroism principle looks like when its circumstances change. Farmworld Finn, the alternate timeline produced by Finn's wish to Prismo that the Lich never even ever existed. In this world, Simon Petrikov stopped the mushroom bomb by freezing it with the crown, dying in the process. The war never fully destroyed civilization. Magic was never released into the world. And Finn, born to the same parents, Martin and Minerva, under the same circumstances, grew up as a farm boy in a world with no magic and no ooh as we know it. The specific quality of Farmworld Finn: he is kind, he is protective of his family. When the crown comes into his possession, he puts it on to protect the people he loves, knowing it might cost him. He is recognizably the heroism principle in a world where the heroism principle was not needed in the way it is in the main timeline. He grows up as a gentle farmer rather than a hero, because the specific threats that require heroism, the Lich, the monsters of Ooh, the post-apocalyptic dangers, were never present. But when the crisis comes, he responds like the heroism principle responds. He puts on the crown. He becomes Ice Finn. He tries to save the people he loves through the instrument available to him, even though the instrument is dangerous and costs him something. The heroism principle in a world where heroism was not required as a vocation still expresses itself as heroism when the moment demands it. The Farmworld Finn in Crossover, now fully Ice Finn, working with the Farmworld Lich, is the heroism principle corrupted by an instrument designed to serve the wrong master. The crown was made to stop a comet, not to make someone a hero. It warps what it inhabits. Farmworld Finn with the crown is the heroism principle running through a lens that distorts it, producing something that looks like heroism from the inside but functions like tyranny from the outside. He thinks he's saving his family. He's freezing innocent people. Main timeline Finn, confronting Farmworld Finn in Crossover, uses the most personal possible appeal, the birthmark. He tells Farmworld Finn his own name, his best friend, and the birthmark, like a flaming sideways teardrop, in a really weird place. He uses the marks of the heroism principle's identity, the name, the companion, the physical evidence of the cosmic past, to reach through the crown's distortion to whatever is still Finn underneath. It works. Farmworld Finn surfaces through the crown's noise. The heroism principle recognizes itself across the dimensional gap. This is the show's most specific statement about what Finn is at the core level. Beneath the alternate circumstances, beneath the corruption, beneath the wrong instrument being used, the heroism principle is still there and can be reached if you know the right words. The right words are the marks of its identity. The old Finn in Puhoi, not an alternate dimension exactly, a pillow world that may or may not be real within the show's cosmology, but the Finn who lives an entire life there, marries Roslinen, has children, grows old, and dies. This version of Finn has one arm. He aged into his heroism principles pattern without the specific circumstances that cost the main timeline Finn his arm. The pattern expresses itself regardless of the specific mechanism. And what does old Pillow World Finn do with his life? He helps people. He provides for his family. He is, by all evidence, a good man who did his best in the world he was given. The heroism principle, denied the specific context of Ooh and the Lich and the Candy Kingdom, still organizes itself around the project of caring for the people around it. It doesn't need monsters to fight to express itself. It just needs people to protect. The adult Finn in Obsidian and Fiona and Cake. Bearded, tattooed, clearly someone who has lived through a great deal. The tattoo of Jake on his chest, over his heart. The adult heroism principle, carrying its companion's memory into the years after the companion's death. still present in U, still himself. This is the theory's most hopeful image, the heroism principle, in its late incarnation, marked by everything it carried, continuing, and then the elderly Finn, in Together Again, dying of old age, navigating the dead worlds, finding Jake, choosing to come back. The heroism principle, at the end of its current instantiation, making its final choice, to continue, not transcendence, not rest, to reincarnate, together with the companion principle, into whatever comes next. Every version of Finn, in every world and every timeline, expresses the same core quality. When there are people who need protecting, the heroism principle moves toward them. The circumstances change, the mechanism changes. The arm is lost in different ways at different moments, but the orientation is constant. That is what the blue comet put into the world. Not a specific person with a specific destiny, but a consistent orientation toward protection that expresses itself through whatever body and whatever world it currently occupies. Expansion. The question of whether Finn knows. One of the theory's most interesting implications, and one the script hasn't fully addressed, is the question of what Finn knows about what he is and when he knows it. After the vault, Finn knows he has past lives. He knows he was Shoko. He knows he was a comet. He has the experiential knowledge that he has existed before, in other forms, and that those forms did things that still matter. He returned the amulet. He processed the guilt. He knows. After the comet, Finn knows that the purple comet was a version of what he used to be, and that the comet told him he was once one of its incarnations. He experiences the vision of his past lives again, in the comet's context. He knows, in the moment of the episode, that he is connected to something cosmic and ongoing, and then he declines the comet's offer and returns to U. But does he carry this knowledge consciously? Does he walk around knowing he is the heroism principle's current instantiation, in cosmic counterpart relationship with the Lich, in an ongoing reincarnation chain that predates the dinosaurs? Almost certainly not. The show presents Finn as someone who knows specific things about his cosmic history, the past lives, the comet, but does not appear to organize his daily existence around this knowledge. He is still, in every subsequent episode, a boy, and then a teenager, and then a young man who goes on adventures with Jake and helps people because it feels right. The cosmic knowledge exists in him, but does not transform his relationship to his daily life. This is the theory's most human element. The heroism principle, incarnated in a specific person, lives as that specific person lives. It does not walk around being cosmically self-aware. It goes on adventures. It makes jokes. It plays video games with BMO. It has crushes. It gets depressed when it loses its arm and its father simultaneously. It sings songs in auto-tune while floating toward a catalyst comet in space. The knowledge is there. The daily life is also there. The daily life does not wait for the cosmic knowledge to give it meaning. It is meaningful on its own terms, and the cosmic knowledge is the frame the show places around it for the audience's benefit, not a burden the character carries consciously. Finn would tell you he's a hero because it feels right to be one, because Jake raised him to think that way, because Joshua and Margaret modeled it, because the people of U need someone to be it. He would not tell you he's the blue comet's reincarnation in cosmic counterpart relationship with the Lich's extinction principle. He knows those things in the way you know things you've experienced, but don't constantly foreground, as part of his history, not as his identity's primary reference point. This is what makes him Finn, rather than an allegory. The theory is true, and he is also just Finn, both simultaneously. Good night. Expansion. The specific words of the purple comet and what they mean. I want to go back to the transcript one more time, because the purple comet's exact words deserve the close reading they rarely receive. The Catalyst Comets wiki quotes the episode transcript directly. I've been around forever and experienced so much impossible junk. I've embodied all that is good and evil, and now we're here. 3 sentences. Each one is doing specific work. I've been around forever. The comet is not a recent phenomenon. It predates any human frame of reference. It predates U. It predates the Mushroom War. It predates Simon Petrikov and Marceline and PB and everything. The thing talking to Finn has existed since before the existence of anything Finn has context for. This is the show placing Finn in the longest possible temporal frame. The thing that made him is eternal. His own existence is one moment in an eternal process. I've experienced so much impossible junk. This is the show's specific and characteristic move, the enormous expressed casually. Impossible Junk, the comet, which has been around forever and embodied the fundamental principles of good and evil in multiple physical forms across millions of years, describes its existence as impossible junk. The humor is not deflating the seriousness. It is the show's way of saying that even at the cosmic level, existence is strange and specific, and doesn't arrive with the gravity it would have in a more portentous story. The impossible junk is real. It is also junk. Both. I've embodied all that is good and evil. The pause before and evil is in the transcript. The dash indicates a beat, a breath, a moment where the weight of what comes next is felt before it arrives. The comet has been both, not good primarily and evil secondarily, both in their respective times, in their respective forms. It is not aligned. It is the mechanism that produces alignment in others. And now we're here, the landing, after everything, after forever, after the impossible junk, after embodying the full range of what the cosmos contains. We arrive at this specific moment. Finn in space, the comet in its current form. Here, the enormous condensed into a single present moment between two beings in orbit above Ooo. This is the scene the theory rests on. And the scene is 11 seconds of a children's animated program that aired on Cartoon Network on June 5th, 2015, watched by 1.55 million people. Most of them were children, some of them were adults. All of them were watching a purple sphere in space tell a 16-year-old boy that it has been everything good and everything evil, and that now, at last, after forever, they are here together. Finn declines. He goes home. The junk continues. That is the theory. That is all of it. Thank you for being here for every word of it. Good night. Final note on the dignity of small things. The purple comet calls its eternal existence impossible junk. This is not an accident of phrasing. Adventure Time consistently finds the cosmic in the mundane and returns the cosmic to the mundane. The biggest things in the show, the Mushroom War, the Lich's extinction drive, the reincarnation chain that spans millions of years, all express themselves through small things. A stuffed bear, a can of soup, a birthmark in a weird place, a white hat from a defeated bear. The theory about Finn is the biggest theory the show supports. It reaches from the Cretaceous period to the far future of Ooo, from the first catalyst comet to Shermie and Beth taking the Finn sword from a tree. It encompasses the Lich and Golby and the entirety of the show's cosmological architecture. And the specific evidence for it includes Finn telling Farmworld, Finn about his birthmark in a weird place, and Jake eating pickles in an empty room, and a baby found crying in a forest with Boom Boom on a leaf, and a boy declining to become something transcendent because he wants to go home to his friends. The theory is enormous. The evidence is small. That's the show. That's always been the show. The enormous lives inside the small. The cosmic expresses itself through the specific and personal. The heroism principle is most fully itself, not when it's fighting the Lich, but when it chooses, after everything, to stay. Finn stayed. That's the whole theory. That's everything. Subscribe if you haven't. Come back. Good night. And one last thing, because it deserves to be said plainly, without embellishment. Finn the human is 12 years old at the start of the show. He is the universe's heroism principle in its current physical form. He has a birthmark from when he was a comet. He sleeps above his own past life's skeleton. He will lose the right arm he reaches with. He will decline transcendence to stay with his dog. He will die of old age in a world that has changed beyond recognition, carrying Jake on his chest, and then he will choose to come back. He is enormous. He is also just Finn. Both. Always both. Good night. And the impossible junk continues. Thank you for all of it, for being here for every word, for caring enough about a show that ended in 2018 to spend time tonight thinking about what it was really saying underneath the candy colours and the adventures. It was saying this. All of it, all along, was saying this. Subscribe. Come back. Good night. Expansion. The specific details most people miss on a rewatch. There is something the show does in the vault that almost nobody discusses in analyses of the episode, and it is one of the most specific pieces of evidence for the full theory. When Finn goes under hypnosis with BMO's regression simulator and sees his past lives, he describes them to Jake in real time. The quote from the VS Battles wiki documenting the transcript. I see my past lives. I was a comet, a butterfly, a thing. I don't know what that is. Some kind of shape. Do you remember anything about the scary lady? Scary lady? Yeah, I was her. except she was a chubby tiger. No, wait. She was riding a tiger, and she wasn't scary. Notice the progression, the comet, the butterfly, the indescribable pink blob. And then, he initially misidentifies himself as the tiger. He says, "I was her, except she was a chubby tiger." His first instinct, when seeing Shoko's life, is to identify with the tiger, rather than with Shoko herself. This is not a continuity error. This is the show being precise about something. The boundary between Finn's past life and Jake's past life is not immediately clear to Finn in the regression. He sees Shoko and the tiger together, and for a moment he can't tell which one he was. He identifies with the tiger first, perhaps because Jake is right there, because the companion principle and the heroism principle are so closely bound that even across reincarnations, the distinction is briefly unclear. He corrects himself. She was riding the tiger. He was her. But the momentary confusion is the show pointing at the depth of the bond. Finn and Jake's connection in this life is a continuation of Shoko and the tiger's connection in the previous one. And the connection is so fundamental that even in hypnotic regression, it creates a moment of cross-identification. The specific word he uses, scary, the scary lady. He calls his own past life scary. Shoko's ghost is the source of his recurring nightmares. She is genuinely frightening to him, showing up as a threat in his dreams, reaching through the floorboards. His first response to recognizing his own past life is to call it scary. The heroism principle is afraid of what it used to be. This is the theory's most intimate detail. Finn, seeing Shoko, is frightened. He locked her away in his vault because she was too much to carry consciously. The heroism principle's corrective incarnation is afraid of the failure that made the correction necessary. He meets his past self, and his first response is fear, and then he returns the amulet. He faces the fear and does the thing the fear was about. That is, specifically and precisely what heroism is. And one final detail from The Vault that is almost always missed, the episode's title itself. The Vault is Finn's name for the mental space where he stores memories too heavy to carry consciously. The episode is named after Finn's own internal suppression mechanism. The show is telling you, in the title, that what you are about to see is something Finn hid from himself. The past lives, Shoko's story, the skeleton in the floorboards. All of this is something Finn was carrying without knowing he was carrying it. The heroism principle walks through every episode of the show, carrying the weight of its previous incarnation's failure, without knowing that is what the nightmares are about. The vault is the thing between Finn and the full knowledge of what he is. The vault is the episode where the vault opens.